Give it a holler. This is it talking. Do you have a signal that shows you're okay? Yes. Okay.
The one, it's the ring. So those two we just pulled out and then last night had a replacement. Line 48 hours. Oh, I know. Hey. So she did it last week, so did it again.
Okay. Do you think this is Chad?
Oh, see.
This is gonna be Christian, Muslim, Buddhist, Jew. Might be many, might be few. Here to honor you. Wow. That's what you're gonna get.
Okay, and I'm supposed to be in there, so you read the service leader parts. Good morning. Come seeker, come traveler, come all humankind, online or in person, whomever you love.
Come and be welcome at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Cheyenne. Here, we are building a community of refuge where all have equal worth and all are invited into spiritual exploration as a foundation for hope, compassionate service, and action.
This is a place where questions are encouraged, a place for room for all of who you are.
This is a place full of works in progress, a place for being human together.
Welcome. It is good to be here.
Settle in and exhale. This is a time for community.
Good morning. I'm Emily Smith. I am a member of the UUCC board, and I'm here to welcome you to this church where we are on a shared journey to find meaning, connection, and community together. If you are new to us, please fill out our welcome card and drop it in the offering basket when it comes around so we can share information about all our activities and help you find what nourishes your spirit here. There are no cards in your pew for writing joys and sorrows for our pastoral prayer. We also pass a square basket during the offering to gather these up. You write your name, or you can be anonymous. You can also write "do not share" on the card if there's something that you want held in care by our minister and our pastoral care team, but not spoken out loud in the service. So we have a lot of things going on every week here at UUCC, and here is a few that are coming up. Excitement. Today is the first Sunday of the month, which means it's Potluck Sunday. So whether or not you brought food to share, please come and join us and welcome. We welcome your presence as we enjoy a meal. New visitors especially, please come and visit with us and tell us what nourishes your spirit in the community. Tonight, Wyoming Equality is hosting a showing of Sanctuary, an intimate and timely documentary exploring faith, belonging, and LGBTQ+ inclusion. It's followed by a live Q&A conversation, and it will take place right here in this sanctuary with the film beginning at 6 p.m. Are you interested in being involved in Earth Day, the Earth Day celebration that's happening on April 18th? We are making plans for that right now. Please go tell Audrey Bunton, she is raising her hand right there, if you are interested in helping or participating. She's putting together a small team of people who are excited to make Earth Day not just a day, but an event at our church. Maybe you went to last year's event. It was amazing, so let's do it again this year. We need volunteers, people with ideas, and attendees. So come see Audrey after church for a chat. And last, but certainly not least, our service auction is on Saturday, which is March 7th. We hope you've had a chance to put in your donation, but if not, we would still take it. There are donation forms on the table in the foyer. You can put your donation, if it's a physical donation, on the stage. But obviously we like services, all kinds of things. It doesn't have to be a physical donation. And if you can't think of anything or don't have anything in that aspect to offer, we would love you to help us set up and tear down, especially tearing down, because by the time that comes, we're all very tired. It's a big process and many hands make light work. Also, you should know that Sarah Burlingame and I will be in the live auction offering to cook you dinner and have very sarcastic, probably inappropriate commentary. And if you're into that kind of thing, you can bid on it on Saturday night. Please welcome Elizabeth Thorson to talk about our Share the Plate partner.
Sorry. We gather in person and on Zoom each week, giving from our resources to sustain the work of this church and share our abundance with community organizations, broadening the reach of our values. You can find the text to give number in your order of service or use your Realm app for electronic giving, or your Share the Plate offerings and pledges may also be dropped in the baskets in a few moments as they pass. Our Share the Plate partner for March is Recover Wyoming. Let's welcome Lana to tell you about their work.
Maybe just won't touch the microphone. Um, okay, never mind. Hi there. My name is Lana Mahoney. I'm a woman in long-term recovery, and I'm the executive director of Recover Wyoming. Um, so I just want to thank everyone for inviting us back. We've come a few different years to kind of share a little bit of information about what we do. And so we thank you guys for thinking of us. Recover Wyoming is a nonprofit and recovery community organization. Kind of our mission is that we just help people to find, get, and stay in long-term recovery from substance use disorder. We also provide supportive services to family members as well. Kind of the basic services that we provide are our recovery coaching, telephone recovery support programs, and also our all recovery meetings. So it's basically just, an opportunity for people who are either new to recovery or looking to get some extra support with recovery. They get matched up with someone with personal lived experience. We talk about, the many pathways to recovery, and we basically just help them navigate the recovery road and find things that work for them. Because we honor many pathways, we just want to advocate and share that we just love and value humans, whomever you are. And so we just want to figure out whatever works best for you. We want to support you in that. And so we, just provide a lot of information and resources, talk about challenges and barriers, things like that. We also provide recovery-friendly events, which is an opportunity for people to find community with others who maybe have like a similar mindset on, health and wellness. And so some examples, recently we just did a paint night. We do things like game night, bingo. It's not just for people in recovery, so anyone in the community is welcome. We just kind of promote that it's a recovery-friendly event, so really anyone is invited. Usually when the weather's warmer, we do barbecues and things like that. So please keep an eye out. We do have info on our Facebook page if you're interested. All of our programs and services are free. So if you yourself, maybe need some support or some individuals who may be interested, please come by the Recovery Center. We're located at 1017 East Lincoln Way, which is right across from Holiday Park. But yeah, we would, anybody that has questions or would like some additional information, please give us a call or come in and have a cup of coffee. We're pretty warm and welcoming. So usually once people come in the door, they're glad they came. So we will have some other of our staff and volunteers coming throughout the different Sundays this month. So you'll get to hear from them as well. But thanks again for having us.
This offering of generosity is gratefully received for the work of the community within and beyond our walls. Before we sound our bowl and enter into this shared time of worship, let us also acknowledge with gratitude the presence of our guest speaker and musician for today, David Rombet. David is a former Wyoming Poet Laureate, a retired University of Wyoming professor of English and Basque, a publishing poet, and has done numerous artist in residency programs around the state and beyond, as well as been on the Humanities Council speakers list. He spends a lot of time in Basque Country and has noticed how many issues in Basque countries tie to UU issues of concern. He's an accomplished accordion player and has traveled twice to Cuba with the First Unitarian Church of Portland, Oregon, as part of a friendship music group. We are so glad to host David today and share in experiencing his wisdom, poetic voice, and musical talent. Our call to worship is from Tanya Marquez, and it's in English and Spanish, and I'm going to try to do the Spanish, so please forgive me if I mispronounce things because I'm not a Spanish speaker as a general rule.
Ánimo.
It is now when we are called as witnesses to the world, to mend it, to change its course, to restore it. It is now when we are called to act on our values, not to hide, not to fear, but to be bold and loud. It is now that we are called to continue our fight for justice, to organize, to speak up. It is now. Let us gather. Let us give each other courage. Let us worship. Es ahora que estamos llamados a ser testigos del mundo, a enmendarlo, a cambiar su curso, a restaurar. Thank you. As a restaurarlo. Okay. Sorry. Es ahora que somos llamados a vivir nuestros valores, a no escondernos, a no temer, sino a ser audaces y a hacer ruido. Es ahora que somos llamados a continuar nuestra lucha por la justicia, a organizarnos, a levantar las voces. Es ahora reunámonos, dímonos valor unos a otros. Celebramos.
Yes.
And I'll light the chalice in just a second, but for our opening hymn, I invite you to look at the insert in the order of service and rise in body or spirit to join in singing. Can I mispronounce this? Hayok Zoria Zori. Now you say it.
Now, you have to feel really fantastic about Camelia doing that. And part of what I'm going to talk about a little bit later is what I'm calling ordinary courage. This is a fantastic marker for ordinary courage to face these things that are kind of terrifying in the daily life that we live. So that's the same for Egoak. This song is called Egoak, which means the wings. It's also known as Choria Chori, which means the bird is a bird. And do you want to try to sing it? You could try. Let me tell you a few rules. The Basque language, vowels are all pure. There are no diphthongs. So the vowels are a, e, o, u. So you see a word like egoak, all pronounced. K's are k, G's are g, always. Z's are s, X's, here's the good one, are sh. That's a key to remember. People joke, they make fun of Basque. It's just a language full of K's and sh's. So the other part is the chorus written in there, the la 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 part, or just the lyrics? The la 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 is written too. So if you have trouble with the Basque language, wait for the la 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 part and it will be fine. But you have the translation too. And this is crucially important. This is a song that every Basque person on the planet knows. And if you learn it and you go to the Basque country, I know we're in church, but we are Unitarians. So you can get a free drink if you sing this song. Everybody knows it. It means so much. It's this history it was a song written during the Franco dictatorship. I'm sure everybody's aware of that, the time when Spain was governed by a fascist dictatorship, 1939 to 75. And many, many people like my age group lived through this. They're fully firsthand experience of the obliteration of the language. Numbers dropped from 1 million to 200,000 speakers of Basque, that people were imprisoned for speaking Basque publicly. I could not sing this song during that period in public. It was forbidden to sing anything in Basque like that. So are you ready to give it a try? All right, here we go. Here's the introduction. Did you have a question? Okay, here we go. Ego ake baki baniskio. Nire izango zen. Etzuen alde gingo. That's again. Ego ake baki baniskio. Nire izango zen. Etzuen alde gingo. Baina honela, etzen gehiago txori izango. Baina honela, etzen gehiago txori izango. Eta ni txoria nuen maite. Eta ni choria nu and mine. Now, as they say, lift your voices. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la.
As we light our chalice, a container of air, earth, and fire, this ritual of our faith reminds our subtle and crashing about beings that we are part of a collective, a community of care and connection, courage and questions, scared and sacred together. Today we gather with intention and creativity, releasing what we must, shaping what we will, in a space made possible by generations of community care and the courage of connection. Somebody know where the matches are, because I do not, and I should pass. Oh, wait a minute. We should have tried this before.
Ha.
Thank you for your patience with me. For our pastoral pair, now will you join me in a spirit of prayer or an attitude of meditative compassion? Today, gathered with all creation, we join in sacred space and time to be with one another, to be a part of one another's stories, to make meaning with one another in the shared moment of joy and grief, compassion and care. We hope we may be made more able to support each other as a comfort in hard times, that we may find joy in celebrating our happy moments and accomplishments as a larger community, that we may for a time dwell together in the wonder and mystery of this magnificent and ever-changing life. We have a joy for the 10 people who happily drummed Friday night and for the beautiful weather. On this day, let us light a candle of gratitude for David's presence among us and for the poetry and musical talent of not only David, but all of those who bring beauty to life through talents and perspectives of human experience. Let us offer our prayers that truth, compassion, and the ability to see the humanity in one another will be at the forefront of our minds and rooted deep within our hearts as we make decisions about how we respond to the actions of our legislature, to the words and messages in the State of Union address, to all that is being done in our name by people paid with our tax dollars. May we always hold in the circle of our care all human communities across our world. May we lift up our awareness and hold in our hearts for a time all those suffering in Iran, the Middle East, and others from war, famine, and natural disasters. All those in sickness and in distress who are lonely and grieving. May their hurts be healed, and may they find peace and compassionate care. And may we acknowledge the strong winds which remind us that change is ever afoot as this cold time of the earth begins to pass into spring. May we give thanks for the ever-changing earth and hold room in our hearts for all the joys as yet unshared and all the sorrows too tender to be spoken aloud. Let us take a moment in silence as we light 3 candles to honor the joys and sorrows as individuals, community, and for the world. May we find in this space peace, comfort, and community that enfolds us. Amen and blessed be. If the young or young at heart wish to join us on the chancel at this time, then we invite you to share in the leadership of speaking our covenant in unison before the time for all ages. The words to our covenant may be found on the inside cover of your order of worship, sorry. And we begin. Love is the spirit of this church. And this is our synagogue. This is our covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek truth, and to help others.
Testing. Oh, it sure is.
Hold this for me. I'm not going to be able to. So I was asked to find a story, And I think I found one that's appropriate for the month of March, which our word is courage. So what other words can you think of that would mean courage? Pardon? Bravery. And I'm glad that somebody said that because this story is about a little girl from Stockholm, Sweden. And she had a cause. She was always shy. And one day her teacher spoke to her, spoke to the classroom, and she took on a brave cause. And I think it's appropriate because as we get ready for Earth Day, I think you'll understand why. The story is called Our House is on Fire by Jeanette Winter. Our house is on fire. Greta is a quiet girl who led a quiet life in the city of Stockholm. Her best friend was Roxy, her dog. All my life, I've been invisible. The invisible girl in the back of the room who doesn't say anything. In school, she felt all alone. Then one day, Greta's teacher talked to the class about climate change, about how the planet is getting warmer, about the polar ice caps melting, about how animals' lives are threatened, and our lives too. That's when Greta's life changed. She read for hours and watched film after film about our warming world. Greta could think about one thing for a long time. She saw ice melting into the sea, disappearing. She saw mighty winds and torrential rains howling across the land. She saw coral reefs deep down in the sea, pale as ghosts, bleached by the warming waters. Greta saw living creatures everywhere struggling to stay alive. Greta saw floodwaters covering houses and people and animals. She saw cities swallowed under rising oceans. She saw smoldering sun-scorched earth, leaving it bone dry. She saw blazing wildfires racing through the forests. Our house is on fire. Greta became sad thinking about climate all the time. She barely ate or barely spoke. Those pictures stuck in her mind. The sad days went on for a long time, each day more unhappy than the next. There might not be a world to live in when she grows up. What use is school without a future? What can I do? She wondered. Greta decided to go on strike from school for the climate. Her parents understood. Greta skipped school on Friday and took her poster, School Strike for Climate, to the Parliament building to sit on strike. She hoped lawmakers would see her. People walked by and walked past too busy to notice. Greta was invisible there too. She was at the Parliament building every Friday, even in the rain. Then word of her strike began to spread. Little by little, other school strikers joined her. On Fridays, Stockholm schools were a bit empty. More people started noticing the child strikers, and the word spread through cyberspace about the Friday school strikes. Children started striking everywhere. If grown-ups won't act to save the planet, children will. The quiet girl who always felt invisible was asked to speak to very important people at the United Nations climate talks in Poland. Greta only spoke when she thought it was important and necessary. You say you love your children above all else, and yet you are stealing their future in front of their very eyes. We need to keep the fossil fuels in the ground. The quiet girl was invited to speak to important people at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. It was necessary to speak. I don't want you to be hopeful. I want you to panic. I want you to feel the fear I feel every day. I want you to act as if the house was on fire, because it is. Greta's protest, all alone, sparked a worldwide children's march. Her quiet voice, joined by thousands of voices, became a roar. Can you hear us? What will you do? Do you guys think she was brave? So it took one little girl to spark a worldwide cause. So don't ever let anyone tell you you don't have courage, because you do, even if you struggle speaking Spanish. Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of the service.
Thank you to everyone who participated. Our sacred message is a poem by David Rumbet called Wings, appropriately enough, after the song. Sometimes it's tricky. The changing room at the YMCA, best to go on Sunday morning when people are sleeping off Saturday night. The motorcycle rally in the Black Hills. Chrome too hot to touch, don't even consider wearing a bikini. Winter nights in the neighbor's sauna, they think she's shy about being naked, wrapped in a towel. The yearly medical exam. The doctor pressing his stethoscope against her back, listening to her lungs. It's easier going alone to a concert, the darkened hall, the dentist noticing nothing but her mouth, the school plays, all eyes on the kids. Coats, hoods, capes, sweaters, and scarves minimize the hump. What do you think happened to her, people ask. Nothing, she says, happened, unwrapping the layers, feathers shifting in anticipation. Our core reading is from The Small and the Mighty by Sharon McMahon. And if you haven't read it, I highly recommend it. Often the small are truly the mighty. Their stories might be eclipsed by a dominant sun, but that doesn't mean they aren't ours to discover, auroras in the pre-dawn hours of morning. Great Americans aren't only people who existed long ago, their faces captured on a frame of black and white film. Great Americans live. Whatever year you are reading this, know that you are surrounded by a cloud of witnesses, people who see you and depend on your efforts. Our ancestors made a way for us, descendants they didn't even know, but whose existence was assured. Being a great American isn't dependent on fame and fortune. It doesn't require your name recorded in the annals of history or to appear on a ballot. The American experiment is full of ill-equipped people with the wrong faces and the wrong life circumstances who just went for it. They tried something no one had done before. They were willing to let other people watch them fail. They just did the next right thing. You should keep going. The biggest breakthroughs often happen after the darkest nights. There will come a moment in your life, a moment when you will be asked to choose, will I retreat or will I move forward with that courage? For some of you, that moment is today. You are the ones we have been waiting for.
Now it is my great pleasure to speak to you a little bit, and thank you for allowing me to be here today. I was told that we had a little theme of courage, and it made me think a great deal about cell phone music going off. No, it made me think a great deal about the ways in which we are called to live courageously by everyday life, the things that every living being among us must face in our lives. So I wanted to start by reading a poem from a poet named Jack Gilbert, an American poet. The poem is called "The Abnormal is Not Courage." The Poles rode out from Warsaw against the German tanks on horses, rode knowing in sunlight with sabers, a magnitude of beauty that allows me no peace. And yet this poem would lessen that day, question the bravery, say, it's not courage, call it a passion, would say, courage isn't that, not at its best. It was impossible, and with form they rode in sunlight, were mangled, but I say, courage is not the abnormal, not the marvelous act, not Macbeth with fine speeches. The worthless can manage in public, or for the moment. It is too near the whore's heart, the bounty of impulse, and the failure to sustain even small kindness. Not the marvelous act, but the evident conclusion of being. Not strangeness, but a leap forward of the same quality. Accomplishment, the even loyalty, but fresh. Not the prodigal son, nor Faustus, but Penelope, the thing steady and clear. Then the crescendo, the real form, the culmination, and the exceeding, not the surprise, the amazed understanding, the marriage, not the month's rapture, not the exception, the beauty that is of many days, steady and clear. It is the normal accomplishment of long excellence. So thinking about that, I thought, well, I don't even know if I agree with that poem. I think that maybe that was courageous too, what the crazy Poles did. But I do want to talk about this specific thing that I think of as daily courage that every person must deal with. And one of the things that hit me is I've heard people say, you know, one of the issues for Americans now is we don't know how to cooperate with one another. We have no capacity for cooperation. And I thought, have you ever driven on Interstate 5 in Seattle? Because this is, for me, is a measure of an unbelievable capacity for cooperation in which everyone is serving both their self-interest and the interest of others. And we do it every single day. I thought, wow, driving. I'd never thought of driving as a metaphor. And it is an act of daily courage, too. I don't know how many of you have been in a serious car accident, but woof. You know, it's a huge risky thing. It's way worse than the slipping in the bathtub problem, is the driving problem. So I thought about that, and that's one kind of courage. Then there's another one. I want to read this one little passage. This is from the book of Matthew, verses 21 to 26 in Matthew 5. Are people familiar with this? Maybe some people are, I don't know. But Matthew reports Christ's words on judgment, saying, if you're offering your gift at the altar, and there remember that your brother or sister has something against you, leave your gift there in front of the altar. First go and be reconciled to them, and then come and offer your gift. Settle matters quickly with your adversary who's taking you to court. Do it while you're still together on the way, or your adversary may hand you over to the judge, and the judge may hand you over to the officer, and you may be thrown in prison. The second half is pretty weirdly charming. You may be thrown in prison, so figure out what to do before that happens. But to me, the important part is the first half of those few verses, the half about go and try to reconcile with your brother and sister before this other much more difficult and painful thing for everyone is going to happen. So I thought, okay, that's a kind of courage that we often forget to have. Some of you may know the Midwestern writer Carol Bly, who wrote a book called Letters from the Country, in which she talks about one of our problems in where she lived in northern Minnesota, in largely Protestant Christian immigrant background communities, was people are taught not to speak out because it will cause tension in your community. And so you don't say things. Little things bother you, and they bother you and bother you until they bother you so much that you blow up. And that was her idea, that we don't know how to deal incrementally, step by step, with these little things. And I'm going to say that's another kind of small courage, to be able to go to someone, to speak and say, perhaps this thing bothered me, or I wonder about this thing, or there's something that's happened that I think it's going to take both of us to figure out together. So that's another part of it. Are you keeping track? Because we're kind of making a little list now of these various kinds of things. And then I thought, okay, these are all daily courage issues. But the one that, of course, everyone deals with from the moment of birth is one's own death, and the fact that we face mortality. And I've always thought that the rigor with which we are forced to face our own mortality is a mark of a kind of courage that if anybody tells me there's some cowardly person, I kind of can believe maybe, okay, in a certain context, there is an act of cowardice. But overall, every single person has to face this thing which is so overwhelming to most of us. And we come up with thousands of ways of answering the question about what our own mortality means to us. So I've thought about that, and I want to play one more song for you. Is Maitiak written in today's program? Is there anything called Maitiak? No, okay. So Maitiak is another Basque song. It's called The Beloved. Maitiak. Maitia means the beloved. It's also a name. It's a nickname, or I might say to someone, "Ay, Maitia," sweetheart. But Maite is a name, Maitia, and Maitiak is the beloved person. So in this song, and this is another part of daily courage, I'm going to argue that a key central facet of daily courage is the ability to face whatever problems we face with a certain degree of humor. And the Basque people do this a lot in their music. Maitiak, the first verse, is, my beloved asked me if I were good looking. And I said, yes, I am so good looking, but I haven't got much of a brain. Then the second verse is, my beloved asked me if I was the firstborn. Basque is a culture of primogeniture. Historically, the firstborn child inherited everything and the others hustle. You figure out what to do. And what's interesting is the Basque people also had the first, as far as we know, democratic parliament in European history in the 13th century in Gipuzkoa. And they also had some things that are very unusual in European history. Women had the right to inherit in the Middle Ages already. Women had the right to sign and make contracts. Divorce was legal for women to initiate. There are all sorts of things. We don't want to pretend that the Basque people are magically perfect, but they had many features which were acts of courage in their time about how they lived with one another. So the second verse, Premu, remember, asked me if I were the firstborn. Yes, I'm the firstborn, but my family got zero, nothing to inherit. So it doesn't matter. Then there's my beloved asked me if I had a job. And you probably can guess this one. I do have a job. I wish I didn't. And the fourth, final, really easy one is my beloved asked me if I had a pocketbook, a wallet. And I said, I do indeed. But what's the problem? There's no money in that wallet. Okay, so there are these comedic verses about the joking, the bantering between the two figures in the song. And there are many, many more. People make up new ones all the time. At parties, they invent new ones. But the last verse is always the same. And the last verse is, we will grow old, we will suffer illness, all of us will be sick, and we will die. But I can promise you that we will die together in love forever. So the song makes a huge turn into this place I'm going to call ordinary courage again. So I'm going to play the song for you. It's repeated lines. Lots of music in many European cultures are call and response, as is often the case, like in many of the early churches in the American South had what was called lining out. Is everybody familiar with that term? Where people didn't have books. And so you couldn't sing a hymn from a book. So the person up front would sing a line and everyone would sing it after. So you'd be lining out. And much music is that way. So good luck, since it's in Basque again. But remember, you're very courageous people. So maybe it can happen. Maitiak. Here we go. Mighty, you're going to repeat me, right? I'm going to say it. You're going to try to repeat. Mighty Hakadegin Satan Poli Talinsenes. Mighty Hakadegin Satan Poli Talinsenes. Good. Poli Politnitse Labanya. Bururikes. Bururikes. Mighty Akaldegin Sautan Premu Banitsenes. Mighty Akaldegin Sautan Premu Banitsenes. Premu Nitse Laban. Echerikes. Echerikes. Maybe if I play it once, you can rest a bit. Here comes work. Mighty Hakadegin Satan Lana Banuenes. Mighty Akaldegin Satan Banuenes. Lana Banuela Banya. Gogorikes. Gogorikes. Mighty Hakaldegin Satan Polcha Banuenes. Mighty Hak. Can you do it alone? Mighty Hak. That was terrible. No, it was fantastic. Trying is so great. Mighty Hakaldegin Satan Polcha Banuenes. Polcha. Polcha Banuela Ban. Dirurikes. Now here comes that last one, the turn, where all of a sudden life becomes serious for us all. Gaisho ail beardugu bio goshes. Gaisho ail beardugu bio goshes. Goshes. Goshes ilbe arban. El karmaites. El karmaites. Goshes. Goshes ilbe arbanya. El karmaites. El karmaites. So that is our little talk about ordinary courage today. And the language part, because we had that Spanish episode earlier in the morning, that also, I think, is a real key thing. I've thought a lot about the courage as we age. I'm an old guy, and I found that I began learning Basque as a late middle-aged American with no Basque family background. I married into a Basque family here in Wyoming, Basque immigrant family, and started learning Basque. That was about the hardest thing I've done in 50 years. And it was terrifying to me. And I realized that as we grow older, or at least me, I come to feel that I have certain competencies, that I know how to do certain things, and I can feel okay. And suddenly I was reduced to idiocy. I was completely ignorant. I couldn't do anything. And I'll tell you one little brief thing about that. I was babysitting a friend's children in Gipuzkoa, which is one of the 7 Basque provinces. The kids were about 6 and 4 at the time, and the parents were with a bunch of friends on a patio at a little outdoor pub kind of place on a sunny day. And I was with the kids in a playground area playing. And we were playing tag. The word for catch in Basque is arrapatu. Arrapatu. Arrapatu saitut. I've caught you. Arrapatu saitut. Arrapatu. Do you know the Spanish word, any of you, for prostitute? The slang word, there is a Latin-based word, prostituta, comes the same as we have in English, but there's a slang, not kind, friendly word. Shall I say it aloud in the building? The word is puta. Oh, oh yeah. Oh yeah, Oli, I know that one. So I was confused and excited and just learning Basque, and instead of saying arrapatu, I said araputa. And of course, because all Basque people in the southern provinces are bilingual, at least in Spanish and Basque, the kids cracked up. They went nuts. And they went screaming to all the other adults at the pub patio, shouting, David said puta! Okay, so this is what I'm going to end with, this courage to be able to face our ignorance, to be able to face that at each step of life, we may be called upon to try something we've not tried before, to make changes in how we perceive ourselves and others, to face those things with enough courage to be fools. Because that's what it took, but still takes it. I make a billion mistakes all the time in Basque. And I can tell you that in the EU system, I'm at C1, which is the functional fluency level. So I'm doing well, but it's still very hard. And learning music, like what you singing today, these weird songs in this unknown language, that's an act of courage too, that brings us together, because when we share a small act of courage, we become a community too. Do we have something else to happen before we get the last song?
No.
Okay, we have a song. Are you ready for this one? Did you print in the program? Oh, well, this is easy. It's in English. And it's got a part that repeats and repeats and repeats and repeats. So it's called We're Here to Harbor You. And it comes from a Sister Loretta Tharpe gospel tune called This Train. Does anybody know This Train? So it's the same melody as This Train, which was also turned into a blues song by Mose Allison called My Brain. My brain's always ticking instead of This Train. And now I've rewritten it into We're Here to Harbor You. We'll sing it together, okay? Here we go. We're here to harbor you. Ha-ha. We're here to harbor you. Ha-ha. This part you won't know. Christian, Muslim, Buddhist, Jew, might be many, might be few. We're here to harbor you. Ha-ha. You get to do that again. We're here to harbor you. Ha-ha. We're here to harbor you. What are the lyrics going to be? Are you ready? Native child or foreign born, from these arms you'll not be torn. We're here to harbor you. One more. We're here to harbor you. We're here to harbor you. Straight or gay, transgender, bi, it's love that gives us wings to fly. We're here to harbor you. You want to think about all that for a minute? Yeah. We have two more. One's ridiculous. One's kind of meaningful, I guess. Here we go. We're here to harbor you. We're here to harbor you. Oh, look out. What is it going to be? What are we going to have? We're here to harbor you. Who could we harbor? Angel, hipster, hangman, God might be righteous. You might be a fraud. We're here to harbor you. Now, here's one that I don't know. You got to have a sense of humor in life. We're here to harbor you. We're here to harbor you. Democrat, socialist, Marxist, man, even if you're a Republican. We're here to harbor you. We're here to harbor you. We're here to harbor you.
That was fun, wasn't it? I've known David for a long time, actually, since I was about 10, and re-met him when I came to the States. So it's lovely to be able to bring him to something like this. Our chalice extinguish. If you'd like to stand for the chalice extinguish, you can, if you're able. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. Again. And our benediction is, be kind, be brave, be just, be merciful, be hopeful. This is how we keep the chalice flame burning until we are together again to light it anew. And please come to the coffee hour, and we will have some of David's books available if you're interested.